Well, hello, and welcome to Opal City Confidential, a Starman podcast, episode 51. And it is time to go back to the Southwest and finish up a major story arc in the Will Payton era. We'll be covering Starman Volume 1, 25, and that's not the right thing, so I can do the next two issues of Starman's 26 and 27 as an episode by themselves, and then do something special for 27, not special, but different, is I realized that so I could have two issues this episode, not just do a single issue, is that Will appears in Justice League America number 42, where they have a membership drive, and he's one of the guys they try to recruit. So we're going to do that. So it's Starman Volume 1, number 25, and Justice League America from the Wahaha era being our second story. So let's get started with Starman 25, which is wrapping up the last 6 or 7 issues arc and setting us up for the next, the last two stories by Roger Stern. So let's get started. So this comic, Starman number 25, was published on June 26, 1990, August 1990 cover date. Again, Brian Michael Augustin is the editor. The story is called Impending Deadline. Impending Deadline. 22-page story starring Starman Will Payton. Creators are writer Roger Stern, woohoo, penciler Tom Lyle, woohoo, inker Scott Hanna, woohoo, letterer Robert M. Pinaha, and colorist Carl Gafford. Main character, of course, is Starman Will Payton. Supporting characters in this issue is Rampage. Yes, Dr. Faulkner turns into a superpowered persona, which I was very happy to see. Glenn Wharton, his friend the cop, this is his last appearance, and it's probably because of some changes that are coming up. Jane Payton, Marie Payton, both a Deadline. This is his last appearance was last issue, and he has no further appearances. I did not realize that this is the last time Deadline appeared. We have some other characters in Star Lab. The synopsis is Deadline kidnaps Kitty Faulkner and uses her as bait to lure Starman into the open. He leads Starman into the desert, where he has set up multiple weapons and traps. Eventually, Deadline leads Starman to an abandoned mine, which collapses. Starman escapes and finally stops Deadline. Kitty Faulkner, now Rampage, assists Starman and helps him recover from the fight. And also, at the end of this, we get to see Starman's new costume, which I'm not sure of yet. See, because the purple and yellow grew on me. So let's kind of go through this comic a little bit, page by page. You can hear that noise of taking a floppy out of a bag and board, because that's the only way to read these. I'm so glad I bought this whole run on eBay during the pandemic, and I'm glad I didn't read them until I decided to do a Starman podcast, because I'm enjoying the heck out of reading these fresh, I'm reading them for the first time and then talking to you guys. How's that? So it's got a great cover. I think cover that reflects what's in the book. It's a nice Tom Lyle cover. It's Starman in the desert. He's covered in some stuff, and his uniform is all messed up, and Deadline's flying around. So this comic has a great splash page. It's called Impending. Starman is just back from his 4 months walking through the desert and being in Hollywood, and he's already in action, and he's flying through town. He's flying through downtown, and people are cheering him. One person's cheering him, but people are looking up. It's just, traditional, like, this is the superhero of this town, so they're happy to see him, I guess. So Will's responding to some reports of explosions, and he runs into Glenn, his friend the cop, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. And then I guess, unless you're older like me, or, to a point, there's this trope scene of a TV store with a bunch of TVs facing out through the store shop. I don't ever remember seeing this ever in my life, but it's in everything, this trope, and it's kind of weird to read it. And I keep seeing it in this series. So Deadline's making an announcement. He's hijacked the TV screens, I guess, he's trying to bait Starman. He goes, "Good evening, Phoenix. Sorry to interrupt your favorite programs, but I have an important announcement. You may be worried about all those bombings that have been going on. At least I hope you're worried. That was my intent. I'm the one responsible. It's not that I have anything against Phoenix in general, but one of your fine citizens put me through some pain, and I intend to pay him back in spades. Do you hear me, Starman? Actually, bombing is not my usual stock and trade, but killing is. You might say I'm a soldier who's learned his job too well. I don't normally take prisoners, but in this case, I made a couple exceptions. Dr. Karen Lou Faulkner and Mr. Michael Booth, both of Star Labs. I don't really need two prisoners, though. I just captured Booth here to make a point, and then he blows this guy's brains out. It's off panel, but you know exactly what's going on. And then he continues. Do you get the point, Starman? Or must I repeat myself? Dr. Faulkner is less unless you stop me. Come on. Out to Star Labs, I'll be waiting. And Starman's like, that's it, you maniac, and he flies off. When he gets to Star Lab, it's already, there's no one, they're not there. Deadline had taped it. Taped the message, so it's already taken place, and when he gets there, he has another message on all the security monitors. Hello, Starman. I never said I'd be waiting at Star Labs. If you want your friend Dr. Faulkner, stay alive and healthy. Meet me alone. No police. So he flies out, and we cut to Captain Estevez. That's Waltham's boss, who is being questioned by the press. We see Marie. She's out bowling on a date, I guess, and sees that on the TV screen, above the alley, the break area, or whatever, the cafe where you ever eat. I love going to a bowling alley, don't you? All right. And then his sister Jane thinking about it, and he gets out to the desert, and there's this house, and in the house we can see that the Deadline pointing a gun at Faulkner is a dummy. It's two like mannequins, and I don't know if Will's figured it out. And what happens is that Kitty and Deadline are further away behind some rocks watching, and Kitty gets her hands loose, takes the tape over her mouth, and screams, "Run, Starman, it's a trap!" And at that moment, the entire cabin explodes, throwing Starman across the desert, and Deadline knocks Kitty out with a backhand. And when Starman gets his bearings straight, he's covered in this goop, this chemical of something, and his uniform is starting to tatter. And Deadline just goes into attack. And this is great. It's a great fight scene. This is, if you like action in your comics, you're getting your money's worth with this one. You're getting a lot of money's worth. Because basically, it's this battle where Starman flies at Deadline. Deadline makes himself intangible, and Starman crashes. He goes to Will goes to rescue Kitty, and he has to block a laser beam from Deadline's rifle by taking the hit in the back. And Deadline's floating around. His guys got it unleashed. Oh yeah, first rate. Oh wait, this is great. Yeah, he shoots the laser. It hits Will in the back, and Deadline goes, "First rate, isn't it? Got it unleashed from an outfit called Intergang," which is Stearns actually at this point is writing some Superman, so that's kind of cool. A little throw to that too. I'm a big fan of the post-crisis Superman. I think Byrne's stuff starts out okay and is pretty good. I think some of it's good, but when they start bringing in Wolfman and Simonson and Stern and Jurgens, and we get to the Diamond era, chef's, I love it. I'm sorry, it's my favorite Superman run. I'm probably a terrible old Bronze Age man for saying that. But Will protects Kitty, and he goes after Deadline. And it's a nice couple panels. This is page 10. I really like Time Lyle's art more and more. I really love his storytelling. It's really solid. It's great Bronze Age superhero stuff from DC. It's just really good. I like the way he draws Kitty Faulkner, and I love his version of Rampage. But we'll start chasing Deadline, and they go at it. And Deadline keeps, he's getting some shots in. But then Will just gets aggravated and he powers up and shoots Deadline, and it grazes his arm, and Deadline goes running. But he's basically just leading Will into another trap in a box canyon where there are missiles. Of course, there are super missiles with trapdoors in the sides of the canyon that blow him up. It's a great panel on, is it 12? Yes, it is. Bottom of 12, which is just the silhouette of Will being hit by explosions and the word blam. I will share that on the interwebs. But he keeps getting zapped worse and worse. And he's getting some hits into Deadline. Deadline's a little hurt. He retreats into this mine, and we find out it's on purpose. Will comes in, and he tells him something. Maybe he tells Will something because Will's kind of something's not right. He's like wasted. You feel wasted. Deadline says to him, "Not so cocky anymore, are you? In fact, I'll bet you feel wasted. Want to know why?" And Will goes, "Why? What have you done to me? Maybe you noticed the gel sticking to the explosives. Explosives carried it. A lot of it boron in it. Ever heard of boron? Absorbs neutrons. A fellow named Moon thought it would disrupt the nuclear reactions inside you." And then he turns his gun to overload and throws it and retreats from the cave. He becomes immaterial. That's how he retreats. But the whole mountain comes down. Kitty's even knocked off her feet. And some of this is on Jane and Marie. We cut to Jane and Marie just for 2 panels. They're watching reports of seismic activity coming from where Starman was supposed to be battling Deadline. And Deadline phases out of the rubble, but then there's an explosion. He's thrown across the desert. And Will is pissed. He's coming out. He's blown up everything. It's great. And then the fight begins again. I mean, this is a lot of action. And he has this special blade made of cadmium that goes into Will. And when he cuts him, we get a 1-page panel where Will looks like he's about to explode. It's like all the energy that's inside him comes out. And it knocks out Deadline, beats him up pretty bad. And Will's like, "You idiot, cadmium controls nuclear fission. I'm fusion powered. You might have killed us all. You tore me open. I would have gone up with a bomb, like a bomb." And then Kitty comes and, he's healing on his own. I think they have a little spark. Kitty and Will sitting in a tree. I like this. It ends with them just kind of walking off into the sunset, and then we cut to the desert sometime later, and Will flies down and lands in front of his mom, his sister, and his dog. Him and his mom have a real they hug and they apologize to each other. So because they were they were fighting over Will being Starman. It was a great part of this whole arc, starting with Will's dad. Way back, issues and issues ago, and then his walkabout, and stuff like that. I love this kind of long storytelling where you're having different little adventures, but there's one kind of theme, and I think we're taking Will to the next level. It's kind of like his self-doubt. It's that, okay, I'm a hero, I want to be a hero. Do I want to be a hero? I have my doubts. I reevaluate it, and then I become a better hero. And it ends with him putting on his black, red, and white costume. It ends with a nice little quote. "Deep, unspeakable suffering may well be called a baptism, a regeneration, the initiation of a new state." George Eliot, 1859. And that's what it is. It's a second start for Will. And I love it. He's gone through this. He's had a bunch of stuff happen. He's had to reevaluate. He's lost his job. He's strained his family. He's met his father. His father's died. But he's still a superhero, and it's great. He just cements it. I'm enjoying that. I really have enjoyed this, and I'm sad to see this story over, but glad that it was so. I think it was so well told. Really enjoyed it. So now we're gonna jump to our next comic, which is Justice League America number 42. And let me pull up more data from Mike's Amazing World. Mike's Amazing World. All right, Justice League America number 42, published on July 17th, 1990, cover dated September 1990. Andy Helfler is the editor. It's called Solicitations. It is 22 pages. Features the Justice League, the post-crisis Justice League. It's plotted by Keith Giffen, scripted by J. Mark DeMatteis. I think it's the correct way. I keep messing it up. Mike McCone pencils, which was nice to see. I love Mike McCone. And I guess this is some of the earliest Mike McCone I've ever seen. Jose F. Marzon Jr. is the inker. Letter is Bob Lappin. Colorist is Eugene D'Angelo. It has been reprinted once in Justice League International Omnibus Volume 2. Really? Wow. Because it's not on the app, folks. I found that there's some spots. I don't know why they are not in it, except maybe El Dorado, because he's got some co-creator stuff in it. But the lineup for the Justice League is Martian Manhunter, Blue Beetle, Fire, Guy Garner, Huntress. I forgot Huntress. Was in this book, but supposedly she has no more further appearances after this. So, but I'm gonna do a big reread on Justice League International soon, and I kind of started, and the third volume's coming out in June, so I kind of want to do a big reread. The guest stars are El Diablo, Hawk, Dove. This is the second Dove. Starman, Will Payton, Orion, and Light Ray. Also, we have Maxwell Lord, Oberon, Elron, Kilowog. The villains are Magacon, P. Craig, and K. Dick. So, oh my God, those are his robots' name. PK. Oh, that is Elron Hubbard. P. Craig, which is that P. Craig Russell, and K. Dick, or is that? Oh, that's very good. Despero. Which this is the end of a story where Despero's done some damage. And guest stars are Gypsy, Funky, Flashman, and Big Barda. This takes place after Starman 25, in which he receives his new costume. Mr. Miracle returns to Earth in the story, because Mr. Miracle has been off, and a robot's been filling in for him, and has died in a battle. The synopsis is, the Justice League conducts a membership drive. Starman, El Diablo, Hawk, and Dove are approached and reject offers to join the team. John wants to step away to focus on personal matters. Mr. Miracle returns from space, but he too wants to focus on his personal life instead of the League. Magacon, who dropped off Scott, trades Elron to the League in exchange for Despero. With the departure and rejections, the team appears to be shorthanded until Orion and Light Ray enter to request membership. So I read this in the omnibus. It is gorgeous. It's got a great... I love this big oversized format. The cover is by Adam Hughes, and it's basically, it reminds me of when Avengers, whenever they do The Old Order Changeth, where you got a bunch of new members looking out like a point of view, and it's El Diablo, which is a book that I love. And we're going to talk about El Diablo in a little bit, because I do want to touch base after we talk about Will. But it's basically a membership drive. Like it starts with Gypsy and John looking at a almost dead, shriveled up Despero, and Gypsy's like, "Why are you letting him live? You know, Mr. Miracle's dead, robot Mr. Miracle, and that he killed her whole family when he massacred the Detroit League." But it's great. But you get then we jump to Maxwell Lord and him talking about how she's not joining and what's going on, and then we go to the recruitment drive. So Blue Beetle and Fire fly in the Bug to San Antonio, and they meet Chewy Salinas and Chewy Salinas and Hector Enrique, two supporting characters from El Diablo, which the last time they appeared was El Diablo 11, and next time in 13. And, they try to cover for their buddy and say, no, he doesn't hang in. They're like, we heard he hangs out here. We heard that. And then El Diablo comes in. So, Will Payton, the one we're here for talk. Will's flying through the desert, and he is accosted. I'm just going to say it because it is Guy Garner, obnoxious Guy Garner. He is accosted. And their recruitment turns into, let's fight, and then let's team up. So it's a great 2-page, it's just them having a little banter and then some fighting. The McCone art's amazing. So we keep then we jump back to um, El Dorado and Fire, but they're sitting speaking Spanish, and Blue Beetle's kind of just pushed to the side. Huntress and Ice go to. They get one page. They watch Hawk and Dove. It's Hank Hall and Dawn Granger fighting, and they ask him, and it's like one page. That's it. I think that is the entire thing of this, because this is just kind of just a story. Is this big story just ended in Justice League America, and DeMatteis and Giffen and the team are putting everything into place for the next one. We got MagaCon. I forgot Funky Flashman was in some of these Justice League America. I'm a big fan of Funky Flashman, especially reading Secret Society of Supervillains. He was a big character in that, and he is. I haven't gotten to his issues in my fourth world read. I think he may have appeared, but he's a character I really, really like. And the comedy in this is great. It's basically every time we cut back to San Antonio, we see Blue Beetle sitting alone with a beer while El Diablo and Fire just have small talk, and it just turns into gobbledygook, and he's just so bored. And then back to this great fight scene with Starman and Guy Garner. Guy Garner gets some hits on him, but it just keeps rolling along. It's a nice comic, but we have Kilowog. I forgot he worked at the embassy, and O'Brien, Elron, and Mr. Miracle and Funky are in Maxwell Lord's office. So it's just all the characters jumping in and out. Batman and Martian Manhunter have a great conversation about, Martian Manhunter wants some time to think about it, and Batman's like, I can't be the leader. You're the, I'm just a part-time member. So while Magna's negotiating for Despero, trading Despero for Elrond, it's at this point where Lord is scolding Mr. Miracle for going out on, not being around while this happened and the robot dying. And that's when Scott realizes that Barda thinks her husband's dead. Yeah, messed up, Scott. I don't know this, and we cut back to this Huntress. If you guys have got this, getting close to the end, this Huntress, I don't remember this. I really don't remember her. I mean, I haven't read this stuff in a long, long time. I really haven't. It's just kind of crazy. And I'm looking at it. I'm not sure where she shows up. I can't wait to read that. I'm not gonna go back and look, but it's not a great costume. I don't like the mask. The boots are great. But Ice and Oberon have a little argument. And then we cut back to Beetle. He's falling asleep, and then it's all for nothing because El Diablo says no. And Manga is flying. They leaving MangaCon, and his robots leave with their prize Despero. And Elron's going to become a big character. He's going to become a member of the Justice League in a lot of ways. He's going to be like Oberon was. And then they have two volunteers. It is Orion and Light Ray. I will say this, the last page, that's it. I hate Orion's costume. I hate it. It's just too over the top. I hope they don't use it for long. I don't think they do. I don't remember it. But it's not one of my favorites. Overall, it was a fun read. It's a little out of context because I haven't read it in so long. But it was neat to see Will in a guest shot in Justice League and have an adventure and be drawn by Mike McCone. I think it's beautiful. It's a fun little comic. Well, I hope I kind of jabbered on a little bit. This is a little all over the place, guys. I'm sorry about that, but I just wanted to. I haven't recorded work. It's just crazy. And I'm a little caffeinated because it's been a long week, and I wanted to get this up tonight, or early tomorrow morning, my time. But when you hear the day it's dropped. Just having fun. I'm going to read some more comics tonight. I got my 0 Hour Omnibus. I don't know when I'm going to read that, but I wanted to have it I think my the next one I'm going to get is in a couple weeks. I think it's the Fourth World Volume 2, which is all the stuff after the Kirby stuff and before later stuff, which I'm looking forward to reading that because it's just going to be fun. So I'm going to drop something this will drop either Friday, the 1st of March, or Saturday, the 2nd of March. But there will be, on Sunday, there will be another Stop Let's Team Up. And I hope you listen to that. And I hope to get the next Opal City back on track on the right day next week. And I have some time off coming up after that, so I'll have a little more time for... I'm going to take a couple days off of work for, just clear the brain and record some podcasts because I got some great stuff coming up. Next, Opal City Confidential will be the last part of the poster story, and the next Justice Society appearance of Ted. And next time we visit Will, it will be the 2-part story where he meets David Knight. And after that, there is a Starman, which is part 3 of a 4-part story, the Crimson Kryptonite storyline that went through the Superman Diamond book, jump from Superman through 3 Superman books and Starman. I'm going to cover those 4 issues, that 4-issue arc, as one episode, and then we will go into... we will have finished the Roger Stern era, and I will be very sad. But folks, hey, I hope you're doing good, but, be safe, be smart, be kind to one another. Please, please, please be kind to one another, and read some comics.